and switch on the camera as the talk is about to begin. Your cooperation is appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so now we will start with our pre-practicum seminar, which is this will be our third session. All right, so before we start, I would like to invite Dr. Khadijah Said Hashim to start the slot.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and very good day to the students, right? And also as the moderator mentioned again and again, thank you, brother or our student Yusuf Akmal. Please, students, to switch. To make sure your microphone off, right? We will be having our seminar. Inshallah, this is the third session. So I welcome our international participants from Laudes College as well. And thank you for joining us today, Dr. Barcelona. How are you doing, my friend?
It's good to see everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Khadijah. It's good to see you as well.
Exactly. So this is the third session, as the moderator mentioned earlier. This is going to be a semi-formal. We are not really, into formal with too much of online and all that. So this is the sharing insight and experiences. Hopefully, this sharing session will be meaningful for both parties, Malaysian and also Philippines, so that we can improve and enhance our teaching practicum for the benefit of the students and for the benefit of our community. So again, I would like to say thank you to my alumni squad. I have the first speaker, my former student long time ago, still the same face and the same smile. Hello, Assalamualaikum Aziz. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us today. Hi Aziz.
Hi, walaikum salam, doctor. Thank you for having me. And to Dr. Barcelona, welcome. I think it's great to have you.
Yes, so Aziz will be our first speaker, and also I have Cherie and also Hafiz, both of them actually in teaching. They just finished their session, so they will be joining us because Aziz will be the first speaker, so they still have time to fix their laptop and all that. So for that matters, I really hope this session will be fruitful for all of us. So with that, I give to Yusuf Akmal as the moderator to begin our session. Right, thank you, Yusuf Akmal, and also, yes, students, if you have questions, if you have clarifications, you have anything to ask to our speakers, and in fact, Dr. Barcelona himself, you can ask. We have a special session later on, inshallah. So with that, Assalamualaikum and all the best to everyone.
Waalaikumsalam, and thank you, Doctor. So we shall start now. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greetings to Associate Professor, Technologist Dr. Sharifah Ruzaina Said Aris, the Dean Faculty of Education, Dr. Hamimah Hashim, the Deputy Dean of Academic Affairs, Dr. Barcelona, the Dean of Teacher Education Program, Laudes College, Philippines, the guest speakers and students, including international participants from Laudes College and all those who attend. In an unknown moment, connection just happened. The connection theatres from every origin. The ceremony began with the curtains open with a beautiful melody, We Shall Begin. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone who took time out of their hectic schedules to attend this event. So from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of everyone who helped organize this talk, thank you so much. Okay, so according to researchers, the teaching practicum is one of the most important aspects of teacher education programs. According to Zegner in 2010, referenced in Azkiyahi and Mukminin in 2017, the teaching practicum is one of the most critical components of teacher education regarding the quality of teachers. In the teaching practicum context, new teachers can implement theoretical ideas learned during their coursework in teaching practicums, even though they may face difficulties when circumstances differ from their expectations. The teaching practicum is aimed to build teachers' pedagogical competence by providing opportunities for them to apply knowledge, skills, and values they have learned in the classroom. Hence, the topic of discussion for today's talk is the significance of teaching practicum for teacher candidates. Now, with great honor, I would like to introduce you to a very important group of people, our speakers. So let's just start with our first speaker. So our first speaker will be Mr. Abdul Aziz bin Arshad. He is basically the alumni for our faculty. He took TESOL, teaching in English as a second language. So here, just a little bit about our speaker. He is currently the head of English Language Unit under Language Studies Department at Institute of Teacher Education, Tower Campus, Sabah. He holds a first-class bachelor's degree in Bachelor of Education in TESOL from University Technology Mara as a KPM scholar. He was also the recipient of Best Practicum Student Award for TESOL in 2010. He received Excellent Service Award from the Ministry of Education in 2016. In 2019, he was the recipient of Chevening Scholarship, a prestigious British government scholarship co-funded by Yayasan Khazanah Malaysia to pursue his master's degree in Master TESOL at the University of Edinburgh, Scotland, United Kingdom, and graduated with distinction in 2020. He was actively presented papers and participated in national and international conferences, including Newcastle, Glasgow, and St. Andrews, and the most recent one at the 55th RELC or Regional Language Centre International Conference 2021 held at the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization Regional Language Centre in Singapore. So glad to finally meet you, Mr. Aziz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah. And our second speaker, her name is Miss Cherie Merie Anak Vincent. She is also the alumni for Physical and Health Education. She is currently a teacher teaching at College Datuk Patinggi Abang Haji Abdillah in Kuching, Sarawak. So we are very nice to see you, Miss Cherie.
Yeah, nice meeting you all. Thank you very much for inviting me. By the way, I'm not Miss, I'm Madam.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Madam.
Okay, it's okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you, Madam Cherie. And our last speaker, which is the third speaker, will be Mr. Muhammad Hafiz bin Hassan. He is the alumni for art. He is currently a lecturer under the Social Sciences Department at College Mara Seremban, Negeri Sembilan. Great to have you with us today, Mr. Hafiz.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very good evening, everyone. So give me a time about 10 minutes to switch on the camera, then I will join because I have some trouble problem right now. So glad to join this session actually. Thank you.
Okay, sure, no problem, Mr. Hafiz. All right, so everyone, introduction to the topic done. Get to know our speakers also done. Now let's get into our next segment, which is the questions and answer. All right, or we call it as the Q&A. All right. So I have a few questions with me right now, and we will take each one at a time. If there's still time, I'll ask a few more questions. So no worries, we have plenty more questions to go. All right. So here's what's going to happen. In a round robin format, I'll ask each of our speakers one question at a time. I'll ask Mr. Aziz the first question, for example. Then I'll go on to Madam Cherie and then Mr. Hafiz once she's finished. So that is basically the brief of our flow. All right. So let's just proceed with our first question to our speakers, starting with Mr. Aziz, if I may. So Mr. Aziz, based on your experience in educational field, why teaching practicum is important for you as a teacher candidate?
Okay. Firstly, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Right. Okay. Right. I do not know why, but my camera is not starting now. Well, this is technology, right? Okay. Okay. Right. Hold on. Give me a moment. I do not know what's going on. Hold on. Yeah. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
No problem. It happens. We really understood this is technology. Right, Mr. Barcelona, it happens to us as well.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, when we had our practicum, when we had our webinar, when we have a seminar, okay, it's just happened, right? Okay, if everything is okay, then we will proceed. No worries. Okay. Dr. Barcelona, how many students that joining us from Philippine students? 36?
We are expecting around 34 students to be
34?
here.
And all of them is
34.
actually having, yeah, Aziz is here. All of them is having their practicum, right? So that'd be
Yes,
good.
yes, that's right.
Okay. Aziz, we can see you now.
Yes, we can see you, sir.
Right. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, right. Let's begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good evening to all of you once again. And once again, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. So the first question just now, Muhammad Yusuf Akmal, why was teaching practicum important to me? Yeah? Right? Okay, right. So actually I've prepared some slides, but it seems like I can't be sharing it for some reason because they require me to switch to desktop app. And I don't have it because I'm connecting from the browser, but I think that is fine. You know, like if that's okay with you. Okay, so I have listed down 5. I have listed down 5 reasons why I think you know, like this teaching practicum was important to me as a teacher candidate. So firstly, and do stop me if I talk too much. Okay, firstly, number 1, to put theory into practice. Okay, to put theory into practice. So I think that's the most important thing about teaching practicum. For the first few semesters and few years, in fact, you know, like all of you, you have been exposed to different learning theories, you know, and also not just related to the content of your specific subject, but also to the pedagogical sides of things as well, you know. And on top of that, you also have different subjects like classroom management and whatnot. So I think everything looks good. Everything looks good until you actually go to school. You know, like, because when you're finally, you know, like when you're finally in school and you try to put whatever that you've learned, you know, whatever that you've learned from books and try to put them into practice, I think that's a different matter altogether. And that requires understanding because, you know, then you have to be very selective of your, for example, like teaching methodologies, or maybe the, you know, like, then you have to be sort of like very sensitive to the surrounding that you're in, you know, in order for you to be able to practice what you've learned. And I think that's the reason why you won't be able to know unless you're there, you're a part of the system. So I think that's the reason why, for me, number 1 is to put theory into practice. And number two, I would say to test the water, to test the water. After all, I think it is my personal belief that not everyone is cut out to be a teacher. Yeah, not everyone is cut out to be a teacher, unfortunately. And therefore, I think the teaching practicum gives you the chance to really, to dip your, feet into the water and see whether, it's up to your liking or not. Whether you think that this is for you or not. And I think this is really important. This is really important because, we have cases where, we have people who are not into teaching, but they're sort of forced into the profession, so what happens when your heart is not there is that you're not going to be a good teacher, sadly, that you will find a lot of excuses, you will feel, you will drag your feet to school. And I don't think that's, that's something good, because you're going to be doing it, probably for the rest of your life, and you want to find something that you really like. So I think teaching practicum is a very good ground to really test the water and see whether you think okay, maybe this is for me. Yeah, I kind of like it. Or maybe say oh, well, this is not for me, And number three, to develop adaptability and resilience, to develop adaptability and resilience. One of the keys of being successful in your practicum is the ability to adapt very quickly. Because you only have a couple of months, you only have a couple of months to be there, and you need to adapt very quickly. So if you're unable to adapt very quickly to the surroundings, then you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. And also resilience. Okay, once you're into the system, then you know that teaching is really, really challenging. Once you're into the system, then it's really, really challenging. So you have to be resilient, or otherwise you're going to feel very bogged down. You're going to feel overwhelmed by the things that you're required to do. Yeah. And number four, to be a reflective practitioner. To be a reflective practitioner. And I think this is sort of a buzz term nowadays in education, to produce not just teachers, but reflective practitioners. So why do I say that? It's because, like I mentioned, during your program, for the first few years, you're exposed to a lot of theories, learning theories, pedagogical theories, and whatnot. But applying them is another matter altogether. And that is why I think that once you're there, once you go through your practicum, your teaching practicum, then you'll be able to see that, well, not everything that you've learned can be applied. And for you to really understand this, you have to be a reflective practitioner. What I mean by that is, after each class, for example, then you will really have to sit down and really think was it successful? Was it a good lesson? Where did I go wrong? Or even when it was successful, then you have to ask yourself where did I go right? What was the strength of my lesson just now? If it didn't go right, then you have to ask yourself, where did I go wrong? What could be improved next? So that is actually, one dimension of being a reflective practitioner. And sadly, not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of teachers do that. Because sometimes it doesn't work. Then you might be just saying oh, okay, it's because of the students, because the students don't have the language. For example, in my field, for example, because I'm related to English. So you might be saying oh, the students don't have the language. That's why it's difficult for them to understand. It's the students and the students and the students. But it's very rare for us to really have a look at ourselves, to really have a look at ourselves and ask where did I go wrong? And what could be improved next? And lastly, I think for the first round, to be realistically creative and innovative. So the word that I would like to emphasize here is the word realistically. Again, because I think if you by now, you can think, of all the methodological classes that you've taken so far, and think about all the wonderful lesson plans that you've designed so far for those classes. And then I would say that those would be very ideal. You know, those lesson plans would be very ideal based on what you think could happen in schools. But the moment you're in school and the moment you try to apply all those lesson plans that you've designed so wonderfully during your university years, then you will quickly realize that, well, like it's like, I can say that it's like if you're not realistic in terms of the things that you want to achieve in a lesson, then you'll be very, very disappointed. And this can be very dangerous. This can be very dangerous. Why do I say so? It's because, and this is from my personal experience. There was one time I was, when I was still in school, and I was the head of English language panel at my school, I saw that the new teacher in my school was, she was a little bit different that day. She was a little bit different. She wasn't as happy. So I noticed, okay, something's not quite right. But I just let her be. And later that day, I saw that she posted something on her social media saying that, she found it a little bit overwhelming, and it was difficult for her to understand why the students couldn't understand what she was teaching. And that made her feel so helpless. So the next day, when I went to school, I approached her and I only asked her one thing, like, are you okay? And you know what happened? Like, she burst into tears. And that day, I told her that, it's actually, it's all about like the expectations that you put. Oftentimes we are not realistic with the expectations that we put for a lesson. Typically we only have like 1 hour for a 2-period lesson. You have like 30 minutes for a single period lesson. So you have to be realistic with the things that you want to achieve. So I think enough for now, but I would like just to recap what I've mentioned so far. There are 5 reasons why I think teaching practicum was important for me. First, to put theory into practice, and number 2, to test the water and see whether teaching is for you or not. And if it's not for you, that is okay. That is okay. You don't hear this always from people. You don't always, some people, like, sometimes it's treated like a crime. If you say like, okay, I'm studying a TESOL, for example, oh, you're going to become a teacher. No, I'm not going to become a teacher. Why? Like, as if it's a crime. For me, it's even a bigger crime if you become a teacher, but your heart is not there. So for me, yes, test the water. And number 3, develop adaptability and resilience. Like I mentioned, try to adapt very quickly to the surroundings, to the teachers around you. And number 4, be a reflective practitioner. Be a reflective practitioner. And lastly, be realistically creative and innovative. And I think that's good enough for the first round, I hope.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aziz, for the explanations. I also believe that what you mentioned just now is really interesting, because especially the part where you say that we should put theory in practice, because that is basically the definition of teaching practical or teaching practicum, or certain people call it as the, in Malay we call it as the latihan industri, LI, or in English, industrial training. So basically, that's the purpose of why we put theory into practice. And I also like the idiom that you mentioned just now, to test the waters. So basically, is we try to gauge the success of something by trying it out by a little bit. So I really agree, and I believe in what you said just now. It's very fascinating to me. Okay, so next we shall proceed to our second speaker, which is Madam Cherie. I think I got it right by now, Madam Cherie. So, Madam, in your opinion, same question, why teaching practicum is important for you as a teacher candidate?
All right. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all of you to invite me this afternoon. So I'm grateful to be here to help the students, teachers, practicum. All right. So I will show you my slide. I already prepared. Just for a while, I will share it. All right. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay. All right. So I'm showing you right now. I'm sharing my slide. Wait for a while, yeah? So may I know how many students from UiTM? Can you raise hand first? I want to see all of you. I want to see all of you. Okay, okay. All right. Okay, nice meeting you all. Okay. How about the Philippines? From the Philippines? I want to see.
Philippines.
Okay. Is it? Hello? All right. Okay. So now I'm going to share it with you all my slide. Wait for a while. Okay. Sharing. Wait for a while, yeah.
Cherie, you're still at school?
I just reached home.
Okay, all
Finished
right.
1:30 actually. So I
All
reached
right.
around 2 something. Around 2.
Thank you for helping us. After
Yeah.
this, can go makan.
Wait. Okay. I go to my
You need
opinion. Yeah. All right. Can you see my?
We don't see slide. I'm not sure about the rest from my side. What about you, Akmal? Do you see any slide from Madam Cherie?
I think I can see the slide, just that I can really see the details or
Oh yes.
yeah.
It appears. It's just that
Okay.
no.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Just wait for a while. Yeah.
So
It's quite
Aziz,
difficult.
probably if you need me to share your slides, if you are okay with that, Aziz, say for example for the next round, you can WhatsApp me if you need me to help you.
Oh, okay, that's
Okay.
great. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. All right.
It doesn't matter. So we just skip. I just skip. Have to wait for a while. Yeah. But my idea is.
I think the connection is not that good. Cherie, you're okay? Cherie?
Yes, I have problems with connection right now.
Yes. If it's
I'm sorry again, once again. I will share. Yeah.
yeah. If you think you need help, you can WhatsApp me. I can I can share on your behalf. You
All
just
right.
do yes. Can.
I share it with you, doctor. Okay.
All right, not a problem. Okay. See, teacher candidate, this is the thing that we need to always be prepared, adapt and adjust. And also we need to have this cooperative culture as well, whereby if plan A doesn't work, we still have plan B, which means we need to cooperate. Because when it comes to technology, we cannot control technology. When you have your students with, they don't want to share the camera or they open their camera, there must be reasons why they don't do that. Dr. Barcelona, I hope you can feel the same experience too. that don't feel comfortable, or the connection is not that stable. There's so many factors in, right?
That's right.
Yes. So we need to be prepared. This is the real experience, authentic, I would say that. So okay. Right, while waiting for the rest, what about if Cherie is still trying to fix her slide? Yes, I received the slides already. Let me share. Okay, Cherie,
Yeah, all right.
then I can open the slides for you now. Right, got it. I have your slides with me. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Khadija.
No problem. Just go
I'm
go
sorry,
and do your
everyone.
just go and do your sharing. The PowerPoint it's opening now. It takes time. Okay, but should be okay. All right. And yes, it is the real experience. Yeah, when we have connection issues, especially when we have session 2 to 5. It's peak hour, we call it over here in Malaysia. What about Philippines? It's the peak time. It's to
It's also the same, Dr.
the
Khadija.
same.
It's
Yeah.
also the peak hour. But usually what's really not good here in the Philippines is usually if it's around 4 down, usually other
Mhm.
than the net
Mm.
traffic, the weather is also not good. So it affects
Oh,
also the internet connection.
exactly. I can see in our case over here. We have issues with internet connections because everybody will be using it, especially the peak hour. We call it 2 to 5. Yeah. So now let me see. Okay, we have all right. So should be here. Can you share? Can you see the slides? Is the slide appear? Not yet?
No, doctor.
No. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let
From my
me.
side, no.
Can you see the slide? Can you see the slide?
No. Yes, 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 yes.
All right. Okay. So you can go. All the best, Madam Cherie.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone, for the patience. Okay, thank you.
She's
Uh,
all right.
Doctor, can you start the slide first?
All right. Ken, this one.
Yeah.
In the slideshow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's slide number.
Number one. No, not yet.
Moving. It's not
No,
moving.
no, it's not moving.
Okay.
I'm sorry, everyone. This is the reality of the education,
Yes,
right?
it's not moving over here as well. Yes. Okay. I hope. Yeah. Moving.
Yeah, it's moving. Can you
So
enlarge?
now.
I'm sorry, everyone. I keep saying I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. All right. I hope. Yes. Okay. Yes, Cherie, you're here. Okay. I think you need to off your, what do you call that? Your
I'm an e. Vidayu lady from Kuching, Sarawak. Okay, from the Borneos. Borneo Islands. Okay, right now I'm teaching physical education, physical educations and moral. Right, so I am alumni UiTM FISET batch 2006. Okay, I'm teaching at the College Datuk Petinggi Abang Haji Abdullah. All right, so next slide. This is what I call that. I want to show you the schools. Okay. All right. We are the cluster school, right? Our niche is BI and also rugby. Okay. Next slide, madam. I just showing the activities in my school. Maybe quite different from other schools, but it's still the same. Okay, next slide, madam. All right, I just want to share quotes from Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world, right? So for me, this is the words that motivates me because we can change. We can change the world just by education. Education is the basic of life, right? I hope everyone agrees with that. Okay, so next, I just want to share questions. I just want to ask you questions. Okay, do you eat to life or do you live to eat? So answer yourself. In Malaysia, in bahasa, I said, adakah kita hidup untuk makan ataupun makan untuk hidup? Okay, this is what we call as simple quotes that reflects our life. All right, so I want you to answer it yourself before I will get back to you after this. Okay, related to these questions. Okay, so next. All right, so my topic for today is I want to share my practicum experiences. Okay, number one. Number two, the importance of teaching practicums. And number three is dealing with challenges. So we share my practicum experiences that I have been before during my time, okay, in my practicum session. Right, next slide. Next slide. Next. My practicum sessions was very how to say that, a very great experiences for me because I came all the way from Kuching, Sarawak, came to Shah Alam and graduate as physical education students, right? So I'm teaching. I was in SMK section 24 in Shah Alam, right? So for me, that school was very big school. Was a big school because in Sarawak, usually we have lots of school in rural area, right? And it's quite different from our school in Sarawak. All right, so next, madam. Okay, next. This was during my practicum session in section 24, Shah Alam. Okay, so obstacle and challenges. I just go through the slide, yeah, madam. Everyone.
Yes, please.
Sorry, because I'm scared that my line connection having problems, so I just go through. Yeah. So the obstacles and challenges for me as practicum students before this is the students' background. We wouldn't know the students' background before because we never met them, right? So the obstacle that I've been through, that I encountered is I don't know the students very well. Maybe the behavior, things like that. Yeah, the one for me is the obstacle that I have encountered before. But right now, since we are facing the pandemic, so the education is changed right now. So we're using online classes, okay, online classes which all of you are facing right now, right? The difficulties in fighting with lines, fighting with connection, fighting with time consuming, right? So next, madam, the challenges, I think from the communications or language barrier. When you, I'm sorry, when you in certain area, or I mean, it's like you are in different, maybe different part of states, or maybe native language, you how to say that, the language barrier means that when you are in other community that using different language in different school. Wait, wait. My daughter, my daughter using vacuum right now. Wait,
Hi, girl. That's the
So
challenges as
my
well.
daughter, she's cleaning up the room. Wait for a while. I know.
No problem. You see, when we have work from home, everything it's running at the same time. Remember, I'm having in the midst of meeting and discussion, my daughter came and asked for milk. So I think everybody will understand that work from home, it's definitely something that we need to really tolerate. Yes, everything okay with you, Madam
Yeah.
Cherie?
Okay. My daughter suddenly become very how to say that,
Hardworking.
very helpful. Okay, I continue, right? Let's say
Uh-uh.
if you are how to say that, continue your practicum session in different school,
Mhm.
which let's say you are a Malay, okay, a
Mhm.
Malay lady. Then suddenly you are in a practicum session in Chinese school, let's say,
Mhm.
in Chinese
Yeah,
school. So you will have that language barrier. So you
exactly.
need to, how to say, you need to at least the basic, the basic words in
Yeah, it's
screen. Yeah, you really need to know. Sometimes that students, they may not understand you, even though you are yes, struggle to adapt the environment. Yes, correct. Let's say if you are in Sarawak, we have different types of language. Okay, there are more than 40 languages. So let's say if you are in Iban community, in Iban community, then you have that no sort of challenges in explaining, in explaining during during your teaching lesson. Let's say that is your maybe your challenges. All right, and then the next point is devices and apps. Nowadays we have a lot of gadgets. We have a lot of gadgets, apps, you name it. Okay, so how we utilize those? How we utilize those? Okay, for example, handphone. Nowadays we have handphone. I'm using two devices right now. I'm using laptop. I'm using handphone. Some people, some students, they will not have that kind of devices for them to to do online classes. In my area, yes. In my school, yes. Some students, they will know, they do not have that. They do not have that kind of device. They are sharing with other people. That's why we need to, how to say that, we need to know the students' background. Let's say the students is very poor, then we need to help them how to solve the problem. Maybe we
All
can
right.
stats. Maybe we can do photo stats, some lesson, right? Some latihan. Let's say in Malaysia we say latihan, but in English we
The
say
exercises.
work
Yeah.
or worksheets, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Next, madam.
So I think Cherie, we will continue for the next session because the
Oh,
first Akmal, the first part is what, Akmal?
The first part is just why teaching practicum is important.
oh,
So
okay.
right now, yeah, Madam Cherie already touched on the second topic. Maybe we can proceed that explanation after this.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So thank you, Madam Cherie, for sharing. And I do agree on when you say that education is the basics of life, because basically education provides us and the society basically with the important knowledge, including the basic facts, job skills, and cultural norms, values. Yeah, I do agree that education is the basis of life. So thank you again, Madam Cherie. And last but not least, I shall call upon our third speaker, Mr. Hafiz. So, Mr. Hafiz, same question as the first speaker and the second speaker. Why teaching practicum is important for you as a teacher candidate?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening. So before I start, uh, just want to make sure that, is it my voice clear?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. So I just go for the first question that beats to me. Actually, why teaching practicum is important. So I will explain regarding to my experience. Okay, during I'm entering into a practicum session. Okay, actually for my practicum session is on my ages 25. Okay, so that we really young that time. So we try to having something new, and then we try to create something, what we call something interesting at the moment. Okay, so we go to the next slide. Okay, so actually when we are entering into a practicum, so we have to know, we have always to bear in our mind why and why, so that when you put why and why in your mind, you'll always remember that this is a good start as a good platform. So as an educator, to be a good educator, we should remember that the good platform start with the practicum. That's why in Malaysia, we try to implement the latihan industry. We try to implement the practicum teachers. We send students from the university, from the faculty of education. They need an experience how to create their self-awareness about the first platform. Okay, so when we are talking about the first platform, we are talking about how to entering into practicum sessions as art teacher. What I just looking forward into the art teacher's perspective. So as a good platform, this is a good platform because we can create the experience about plus minus 4 months to create an experience, so that as we know the words of people come and go and memory stay. So this is a good platform to create the memory. Okay, so when we are creating the memory, it's give a big impact to us how to be a good teacher. As a novice teacher, we need to facing the what we call we need to facing the experience, okay, all the challenges. So most of the students who are studying arts, okay, in my perspective, most of the students who are uh, learn how to know about pendidikan seni visual, for example, most of them lack of attention. Because of why? Because of our ministry try to put the art subject into the kelas-kelas belakang, okay, to the what we call uh, not really perform students, okay, so to the class belakang. So as a new teacher, we need to think what is a good activity, what is the good attraction, and then what is the main interest to grab an attention from students to make sure that they are really interest with our subject, okay, so that what is the important? Make sure as a novice teacher, you know your responsibility. So as a practicum, we try to give what we call the learning process to you as a good teacher to be your to be a good in responsibility. Okay, we go to the next slide. Sorry, doctor. Okay, when we are talking about the teaching practicum is important. Why is important? Because of they always give us unpredictable situations. Because of what? Because of they try to give some what we call some ujian to us, okay, to make sure that we be patient with all the situations, okay, all the current situation. You cannot predict. Please do not predict everything is beautiful at school. That's why we need to enter for the practicum. So that my first point is familiar yourself with your surrounding when you are entering into school. Okay, you need to know who's you as a teachers, as a workers at the same time. Okay, you as a workers at the same time, you need to remember that your surrounding with the rakan sekerja, your surrounding with the students also, and then you have to adapt. Okay, so, you have to adapt with the situation, with the adoption. Is it your school from the boarding school or secondary school, like sekolah menengah biasa, so that they have two different people ability. Okay, when we are talking to the practicum into boarding school, of course your student is a fast learner students, is an excellent students. When we are going to sekolah menengah kebangsaan, so they have various of students' ability there. So you have to remember that how to familiar with your surrounding itself. So secondary is describe the people that inspire you. Okay, at school we have the mentoring session when the students for the faculty of education students, when they are entering into the practicum session, so they got what we call the guidance from the mentor, so that the mentoring session, they are doing the guidance to the teachers how to do a good filing, how to do a good documentation. So that's a learning process actually. So emphasize your desire to make a difference. Try to be creative. Okay, based on subject, for example, me myself, from the art perspective, I'm trying to be creative at all the time. Okay, we try to do something new. Wow factor. We give an impact to the wow factor to make sure that our surrounding can what we call can adopt. Okay, can adopt with our creativity. So get out of the comfort zone, so that from that we try to make a difference. Okay, try to make always make a difference, because as a novice teacher, as a practicum teacher, you are young with the fresh idea, you are young with the what we call with the people who are alert with the current situation and try to implement that into the practicum session. So that last but not least, you try to bear in your mind that every day is a learning process. That's the practicum session. So that try to make sure that you always be patient. We are facing the every test in front of you. How to solve the problem nicely. I think most of my experience in practicum session, I try to study, I try to know how to solve the problem. Most every day I facing the problem actually because we are new in a teaching platform. So when we are new in teaching platform, that's a problem for us. So try to be nice, try to adapt, try to know how to solve the problem, and then make sure that you are teaching with your nice profession. Try to be teaching as a profession, so that because of uh, this profession have a lot of challenging. Try to make sure that you are alert with the current situation. As we know, for now most of the teacher need to be ready with the ODL, open and distance learning, so that how to create the good slideshow, the interesting slide from the topic. And then you always need to ready as a art students, as a art teacher, you have to ready your tablet, okay, how to demonstrate the sketch, how to demonstrate the arts demonstration. Try to create your own video, put your effort, the simple video how to explain to the students. And even you are doing in online, we are not facing into art studio, but in online perspective we try to give a good impact, so that the student can understand, as long our what we call our learning objective successfully tercapai. Okay, betul. Okay, and then last kali discuss your love of kids. Okay, make sure you always ask your kids, and then doing the intervention. That's the important. Try to ask student when your student is not perform well into your subject. Try to go personally doing the personal intervention, and then keep update and asking. Do you understand regarding to the topic that we will teach? Okay, so next slide. Okay, I really interesting to make sure that all of you try to put in your mind that what is the main purpose as a teachers? What's the purpose when you are entering into practicum? So that when you put yourself into as a teacher's practicum, every day is something new. Okay, you have to remember that the community, the person surrounding you is a new, what we call, you will facing the different people every day. And then most people, they have their own school of thought. So they have the different school of thought, make sure as a new teacher, try to celebrate people's opinion. For sure everyone will love you. Semua orang akan suka. Okay, because of what? Because of you celebrate people's opinion. They have different thoughts. Okay, our rakan sekerja is from different subject. Our rakan sekerja is from, and our student also is from different attitude. So try to celebrate their opinions and give your new opinion after you celebrate their opinions. That's the main purpose. Second, you build life shaping relationship. So when we are talking about life shaping relationship, your circle at work place. So who's your friends at your workplace? Try to be nice to to the peoples, and of course you have a close friend at your workplace. So try to make sure that your day every day, wake up at early morning, okay, to entering the school, you feel happy with your professions. So that try to build life shaping relationship. And then the effect of the words that you can see, of course, as a teacher every day, they give some effect. As a practicum teacher, they are teaching us how to be a good teacher, because always remember that teaching is a noble profession. Okay, we are work for the better society, and then you be making a difference. Try to create the different for most every day. That's why I think my degree journey from Faculty of Educations, UITM, they give me the learning process with the good impact when they are sending me about plus minus 4 months into school. So I try to be a good teacher. So that from that, I try to create the difference from day by day. What's the a good difference, and what you can be a good teacher, you can be a good teacher with the good creativity from day to day. And is an early education's career in your future? Try to ask yourself, is it true? Is it this profession suitable to us? Because of what? Because of this is a practicum. This is the learning process. Okay, maybe at the end of your degree sessions, okay, your degree journey, you think that, oh, I think teaching profession is not suit with my soul, for example. Okay, let go for that. Because we are dealing with the people, we are dealing with the students. Okay, always remember that. I think most of the universities, okay, and even from not from Malaysia also, we need to implement this kind of practicum session to make sure that the students the mahasiswa itself from the university knows how to be a good teacher, and try always and always remember that the noble profession is really important. Okay, so next slide, Doctor. Okay, for the first questions, this is the last slide I will share. The 8 ways to grow as a teachers, you always to you need to always remember that. Okay, this is the what we call storyline. Okay, storyline when you are doing the practicum. So that the storyline, first we start with the small. Okay, start with the small, knows who's your surrounding, try to make sure that the surrounding, try to create the surrounding is most beautiful most of the day, and then start right way. Okay, always and always asking your mentor what's next to be done, what's to do, and then try to see your learning as a system. So that your learning as a system, make sure you are adapt and adopt with the situation. For example, for now, currently of COVID-19, okay, try to learn how to create a good what we call a good intention with the teachings in a open distance learning with the online learning itself. So that when you are doing your lesson plan, okay, try to reflect and reflect and reflect. Of course, in lesson plan, this is the learning process. After you end of your class, you have to write your own lesson plan. So that when you are entering into a practicum session, okay, after you finish the learning process, so the learning session, PNP, pengajaran dan pembelajaran, okay, at the end of the class, try to reflect. Okay, what's next, and then from the reflect, give something new to get a good improvement. So that collaborate meaningful. Try to collaborate with your workplace friends, and then make sure you always alert with your management. I think the practicum process also give us how to respect our management, how to put the management as a first priority. Because of everything, management is a person who are mentoring, who are because of management is a person who are always monitor, who are always monitor us as a novice teachers, and then listen to the student. Okay, when you are you facing the students, make sure you listen the students opinion, what's they need from that, and then start curious. Okay, and last but not least, celebrate the learning. That's the ways how to grow a teachers for the practicum. I think that's from my opinion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hafiz. It is interesting when you say that we need to adapt to our surroundings. Yes, I do agree on that, because we are basically just a normal human being that we need to do some adjustment uh, for ourselves so that we can, can involve ourselves in the environment so that we can improve our chances in surviving. So thank you for the speakers. So basically we just finished for our first question. So without wasting our time, let's just proceed with the second question, shall we? Because we only have like 55 minutes left before the session end. So let's just keep going. So although the speakers have explained and highlighted the importance of teaching practicum, always there must be some downsides or obstacles encountered during the practicum session, obviously. So, but when we have downside or obstacles, definitely we have ways to overcome them. So let's just jump back to our first speaker, which is Mr. Aziz. So, Mr. Aziz, could you please share or tell us about the problems you have faced and how you overcome them during your practicum session?
Okay, right. Thank you. Thank you to the moderator. Now I need your help, Doctor. Have you received my slides, I hope?
Yes, I'm opening the slides now. Okay,
Thank you, Doctor.
on the way. Oh, yes, I have Aziz slides is here. So let's start sharing Aziz slide. Can you see the slide?
Not yet. Okay, right. Okay, so just straight to number 4, I guess.
Slide number 4.
But could you go to the second slide, Doctor?
This one?
All right. Yes.
Okay,
right.
good.
Okay, right. Sorry. Once again, hi everybody. So sorry. I wanted to show this actually at the beginning of my first round talk, but due to some glitch, I couldn't. So I just want to share because I think it's really, really important to mention and just acknowledge the people that helped me along the way to become who I am today. So I just a little bit for information. I did my undergraduate practicum in 2010 at SM Technic Klang. I have been informed that the school has now been upgraded to KV as a vocational college now, right? And at that time, I was under the supervision of Dr. Abu Bakar, or we fondly call him Dr. Ben. And also, I have been informed that he has retired. And
Yes.
I was mentored at SM Technic Klang by Madam Wu Kyun Fang, a wonderful lady. And I have also been informed that she has retired. I owe it a lot to Dr. Abu Bakar as well as Madam Wu and UITM in general for shaping me to become the person that I am today. Right. Okay. So Doctor, could you go straight to slide number 4, Doctor? Okay, right. Okay, so now I want to talk about the challenges that I encountered. Number 1 that I put there, driving. This is a very interesting story to tell. But seriously, you might not see it now. But, I think just like, was it Cherie? Yeah, just like Cherie, like I'm from the island of Borneo. So, when I was at UITM, I had to depend a lot on public transport, to get to the faculty. So imagine when I knew that I would be posted to SM Technic Klang for my teaching practicum, that horrified me. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to commute from section 17? Because at that time we were at section 17. I've been informed that it's no longer there. So I went from section 17 all the way to SM Technic Klang. I was horrified. But then again, thank God, I got a partner who had a car. And that was Fatin, a lady, a student from Terengganu. So she was like, I have a car, Aziz, don't you worry. So we will just like carpool, right? And you know what? She asked me like, but can we take turns? And I told her that I couldn't drive. Actually, I had my driving license, but I couldn't drive. I couldn't drive because of one traumatic incident that I encountered when I was like small. But I had my teaching license. Sorry, my driving license, but I couldn't drive. You know, when I got the license, then I had not been driving for the past 4 years up until the day that I had to go through my teaching practicum. So imagine first was driving, but I'm going to tell you how that, eventually was resolved. So I had to depend on Fatin a lot to drive until one day she was sick. Until one day she was sick, so she texted me very early in the morning, like, Aziz, because at that time, we were living next to each other, right in front of the faculty at section 17. So and then she texted me like, Aziz, I'm not going to go to school today because I'm not feeling well. And I was like, okay, then what am I supposed to do? She's like, can you just take the key and drive? I was like, okay. I was horrified. But I had to go to school. Because I was doing my practicum. So, I took the key and I drove for the first time after having my license for 4 years. And, you can see that I'm still alive today. I don't want to recall the experience of driving through Klang, but it's a long story, but I'm not going to go there. But yes, right. Number 2, misbehaving students. SM Technique Klang, at that time, sadly, they had reputation, by having, these students who are, how do we put it, like academically not good, just very selected classes, but majority of them were not very academically inclined. Because of that, unfortunately, also we had a lot of misbehaving students at the school, including one class that I had to teach. Okay, so how did I overcome that? I'm going to explain later. But just to give you a little bit of an idea, when I first entered this one class full of boys, not a single girl in that one classroom, I was ignored. And they just wouldn't listen to me. They were sleeping the whole time. They couldn't care less what I was talking about in front. So that was a bittersweet experience, I would say. And number 3, low proficiency as well. Like I mentioned to you, sometimes it's easy to be. Sometimes you take it for granted because you're surrounded by people who can speak English well, and also especially I'm talking about NUITM is known for that as well. And when I was surrounded by my TESOL friends, we understood each other very well. We had no problem using the language. But when you actually go to school, you have to be prepared that even simple words, some words that you consider very simple, fundamental, everybody knows that word. You don't be surprised to learn that you will encounter a couple of students who have no idea what you're talking about, even though you have brought the level, down. So you will have to be prepared for that as well. And number 4, I would put it as okay. And also when talking about low proficiency, I'm going to talk about what I did. But number 4, I put it as theory practicum dichotomy. So what I mean by this, I think I already talked a little bit about this in the first session, that sometimes the theories that you learn, from books are not applicable in real life. Just for example, I give you an example. For example, like behaviorism. Behaviorism is, it's known for the reward punishment kind of thing, right? So you reward the students and they will repeat the good behavior. You punish them and they will just they will stop doing that. But when you go to school, ladies and gentlemen, rewards sometimes don't work. Rewards don't work. You go to, for example, like to schools in KL, and what do you want to offer to them? Like what? Sweets? I do not know, like you name it. But and this is from my experience, really. And some of the students, I've also heard from my fellow classmates as well, who mentioned that the kids, they even said that teacher, we can buy something more expensive. We can get something better than what you're giving. So in that example, like rewards don't work. Punishments don't work as well sometimes. Punishments don't work sometimes. So when you encounter this kind of situation, then you are you're put in a situation where theory to understand that there's theory practice dichotomy and what you can do to actually navigate your ways around the dichotomy. And lastly, I would say dwindling motivation. Dwindling motivation, now let me just put it straight. No matter how motivated you are, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how good you are, no matter how much you love teaching, there will be days when you just don't feel like it. There will be days when you just feel like, oh my God, you just don't feel it today. You just don't feel it today. And you feel like, oh my God, like I mentioned previously, like dragging your feet to school, you will experience that sometimes. So what should you do? You can't just say like, okay, I'm not going to go to school because you're graduate, you want to graduate, right? You want to pass it. So what are you going to do? So now I will go to the next section in which I will explain what I did to overcome these 5 challenges that I encountered back then. Dr. Khadija, the next slide is. Okay, right. Okay, so number 1, drive anyway. Like when there is no choice, what you have to do is basically, by hook or by crook, you have to do it. And that's what I did. I drove anyway. But looking back, I'm glad that happened. Because now I can drive confidently. Sometimes I speed as well, so that's not really good. I think it's off record here, hopefully. Sometimes I exceeded the word limit as well nowadays. But what I'm saying is that I think it started from that experience. I think if Fatin had not fallen sick that day, I would not have driven, and I wouldn't have become so confident in driving today. So number 2, establish relationships. And here, I would just like to quote George Washington Carver, who says that all learning is understanding relationships. All learning, let me just repeat that all learning is understanding relationships. Like without good rapport that you have with your students, teaching is going to be difficult for you. So whether you like it or not, you will have to form very positive relationships with your students. And I would also like to quote Rita Pearson, who says that, so what do we do? But even sometimes we have to become great actors and actresses, in the name of forming that good relationship. But I hope that it doesn't have to go there. You can actually build relationships out of, sincerity. Yeah. And number 3, make learning objectives achievable. I think what Hafiz just now, right? In one of the slides, he mentions about like the importance of starting small. And I want to reiterate that here, that it's really, really important to do that. Sometimes when you go to schools, you get excited. You want to do a lot of things. You want to do a lot of things and you want to achieve a lot of things in a lesson. So that is why it's important to go to school to keep you grounded so that you will understand what you can achieve in a single period lesson, in a double period lesson, what you can achieve. So make sure that your learning objectives are achievable so that you yourself won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. I think our disappointment comes from our expectations, and our expectations can sometimes be very, very unrealistic. Therefore, I think it's very important to remind yourself that you have to make your learning objectives achievable. Right. And in the case of also students who have very low proficiency level, I remember that this one I have to give it to Dr. Byrne, my supervisor at that time. I just want to share my experience that there was one time he came to my school. He came to my school to observe me, and in the lesson that I had designed, I would be using a song. I would be using a song, like from YouTube or, from YouTube, I guess. So what happened, the moment he came to my class to observe, then the electricity was out. And the electricity was cut and there was no electricity, and I was left wondering like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Okay, what am I going to do now? And in my lesson plan, I had already made it very clear that there would be a song played, and I remember that it was a Michael Jackson song. So there he was sitting, looking at me, waiting for my next move. And I had to think very quickly on my feet. And you know what I had to do? I had to sing. I had to sing the blessed song 3 times, ladies and gentlemen, because I had already put in my lesson plan that the song would be played like 3 times. And then he was like waiting for my next move, and I had to sing the song 3 times with my not so melodious voice, and it was during a fasting month. But I had to do what I had to do. So, like right after the lesson, he was waiting for me at the canteen, and I was ready to be reprimanded by Dr. Byrne. But to my surprise, this is what he told me. You did a good job. You did a good job. You were able to think very quickly on your feet, to think about what you should do in that kind of situation. And it happens. It happens. I remember what Dr. Byrne told me. It happens, Aziz, in real life. When you go to school, it happens all the time. So you have to prepare plan B, plan C, even if you have to sing. And that's what you did. So congratulations. So I owed it to Dr. Byrne a lot. I think his wisdom and words, I still remember them. Okay, and lastly, I think number 4, I put that use the journal to reflect. So this one I have to confirm with Dr. Khadija. Do they still use the journal, doctor? Are they still given journals, doctor?
Yes, it's reflective journal. It's still, yes.
Right. Okay. Now, from my experience, even now as a lecturer at IPG, because now I observe practicum students as well. So it's like coming full circle to talk about this now. I'm not sure about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I hope you will use the journal given by the faculty to the max. I had a good time writing in that journal. I had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time writing. Maybe it's just me, maybe because I'm just nerdy, but truly, I had a wonderful time journaling my experience as a practicum student. And I turned it into a novel. I actually got permission from Dr. Byrne. So I told Dr. Byrne at that time, because at that time we were given this small book. We were given this small book as our as our journal, and I told Dr. Ben, is it possible for me to type out my my journal, and then later on at the end of practicum, I will just print out everything. And he said like, yeah, no problem with that. So, and because of that, for me, after each day ended, I would start writing my journal. You know, and for me, truly, I had wonderful time. I treat it like a diary. I treat it like a diary, you know, where I could just express myself and reflect. It's not simply about expressing yourself, but it's about reflecting as well. Yeah, it's about reflecting as well. And lastly, number 5, I would say, get involved. Get involved. You know, like when this is in relation to what I mentioned earlier about doing motivation. You know, sometimes it can get very overwhelming, even though you're just in that particular school for like 3-4 months. But really, truly, it can get overwhelming. For me, what I did to make sure that I would stay motivated during my practicum journey was to get involved. I had a lot of sisters and brothers. The teachers around me, you know, so please make yourself likable, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's not their duty to entertain you. It's not their duty to entertain you. Don't go to school feeling like a diva, waiting to be treated so special. You know, because you are going to be disappointed. So make an effort to be likable. You know, like most of the time, I'm sure that you won't have so much to do anyway, right? So offer yourselves to help. For example, I remember when I was doing my teaching practicum, there was one time I overheard this one particular teacher having too many classes to take over for relief. You know, so when I heard that, I told her like, it's okay, I can help you. I can help you with a couple of classes. And she was like, really? Yeah. Don't you have anything to do? I said, oh no, I can put that aside for a while. I can help you out. You know, so you know, you do whatever that you can do to feel so that the environment will feel comfortable, that you will feel like the school, pretty much like your faculty, like home, you know, so that you can have everlasting relationships. So have fun and be remembered. For your information, ladies and gentlemen, I did mine back in 2010. So it has been 12 years. And I still keep in touch with a couple of teachers from SM Technic Club. You know, so be remembered for good things, that and also remember that you are the ambassadors of the Faculty of Education, UITM. You are the ambassadors of the Faculty of Education, UITM. So wherever you go, you know, the name comes with you. The responsibilities are on your shoulder. They're not going to remember your name, but they're going to remember the institution that you that you represent. So you know, like my career has taken me to places, and like how the moderator has mentioned a little bit of my background, that I you know, like I did my master's degree in Scotland, UK. Even when I was in the UK, you know, like whatever that I did at that time, sometimes it took me back to my foundational years at UITM. Yeah, so be grateful, and then again, it's not about, lastly, I think I would end this second round for my part by saying that it might be a cliche by now, but it's truly, it's asking yourself about what you can offer instead of what UITM can offer to you, right? What can you contribute to the institution? How can you make sure that even after years of leaving UITM, you will continue the legacy. You have left something good behind to be remembered. And I think that's enough for now, I guess. Right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hafiz. I think that was such a fascinating exchange. And I think I'm not going to re-explain anything because I'm extremely interested in hearing what our speaker has to say about this question too. So, Madam Cherie, would you like to share with us generally in terms of the obstacles, challenges, and ways you overcome? Or maybe you can emphasize back on what you have explained priorly so that we can get better understandings. So the stage is yours.
All right. So once again, thank you, Ms. Muhammad Yusuf. So I'm sharing my point of view about my experiences for my experiences in practicum session before, and also maybe a few obstacles right now that we are facing during the pandemic. Right. So now I'm sharing my slide. We continue with other obstacles that I have facing before, right? So as you see in my slide, I'm sharing my obstacles about clerical works, right? As a teacher, sorry, as a teacher, there's a lot of clerical work that we are facing right now, especially in real profession. To be a teacher right now, to be a teacher today, we need to do a lot of fill in forms, okay, fill in forms of attendance, okay. We need to do report about merit and demerit students, yeah, and then do reports about disciplines. For example, if the school gives you duties roster on that particular day, okay, duty at the gates, early in the morning, you have to do reports. How many students they are latecomers, such as latecomers, or maybe you have to check. You have to check the students' appearance, such as dressing code. Okay, dressing code, the hair. So let's say if the school gives you that responsibility, okay, to be on duty on that day, you have to do that. You cannot say no. You cannot say no. That is how to say that is your responsibility, right? And other clerical works, you need to right now you need to be alert with SOP, standard operational procedure in schools, right? So in my school, we need to remind students. We need to remind students to be not too close with each other. Have to wear masks every time. Yeah, have to wear masks every time. Have to sanitize the class after lessons. Things like that. That is we are facing right now. So I hope that the practicals teacher, right, we understand the needs, okay, the needs and of that clerical works, right? And then let's say if you are giving responsibility to be assistant form teacher, right? So you need to do all the Google forms, all the Google forms, all the APDMs, all the attendance you need to do, right? Sorry. Okay, next is students and parents' attitude. I agree with Abdul Aziz. Sorry, I agree with Abdul Aziz. Okay, saying that students misbehavior. I do facing that before in my practical session before in section 24. But however, at that time when we are very young, when we are young teachers, there tends to be sort of liking. It's not just to be how to say that they are open. They are open with the new teachers, the new young teachers, right? So for me, that is a good advantage. That is advantage for you because you are young, and then you are not are young and they need attention. You know that they are very used to, how to say that they are really needs attention. That is when we can get their attention in our class to help them focus in our learning process. Learning process. No. You go there. You go there first. Sorry. And then they tends to share stories. They tends to share stories about their families. You know, sometimes it's out from the. Sometimes they are out from the learning objective, but you as teachers, you as young teachers, please, you have the advantage to know to understand what the students are facing. Okay, I have experience during pemufakatan, during parents and teachers meeting, where the students are waiting for the parents outside, waiting for the parents to come. But the student said, "Teacher, I was wondering why the boy standing outside, no, just like waiting for someone." So I approached him. I said, "Why are you here? Why are you waiting for someone?" "Yes, teacher, but my mother and my father couldn't come." So it was like, it's okay, it's okay, never mind. The teacher will can call your parents. But the boy said, "I am from a broken family." That boy in my class, all the teachers said, this boy is very, how to say that, problematic, misbehavior, doesn't want to come to school sometimes. Sometimes what you call it, ponteng, ponteng, absence, right? Doesn't come to school without any reason. And then misbehavior. Yes. Okay. And then doesn't want to do works and always disturb other students. But when I how to say that, when he suddenly opened up his problem to me, then I listen. Then I know what is the problems that the boys facing. So you as young teachers, you have that advantage to to gain their trust. So don't ever broke the trust. Okay. About parents' attitudes, yes. Nowadays as for me now, we are facing for me we are facing a lot of what you call it, challenges in parents also. We have a lot of groups. We have a lot of groups in WhatsApp, Telegram, you name it. And every day we receive a message from parents. We message from our head of department. Receive message from the PKM, from the pengetua itself, my principals himself. We need to, how to say that, we need to send urgent message to parents. So it is like 24 hours a day working as teacher. And then I remember I received message. I received message from parents at 12:45 p.m. 12:45 a.m. But I when it is we know that where we know that that is maybe for them is urgent. So we answer them urgently. Maybe they need us to respond. Okay, because some parents probably their working hours quite different from us, but we as teacher we are working 24 hours 24 hours every day. And then also for me, uh, in my school during my practical teaching, I was facing problems with students, a lot of students. Besides misbehavior students, we also have facing students that they are don't know how to talk. They do not have how to say that, they do not talk in class. They just keep quiet. They just look at me, or they just doing their own works. So I was like angry that time. And the next day I entered the class. I tried to talk to that student. I tried to talk, and it was a very difficult for me, because that student doesn't want to talk at all, doesn't want to respond to at all. And I was like, oh no, oh God, please help me, please
It's
open his
difficult,
heart.
I think.
Yes,
Cherie, it's
yes.
I think everybody I think everyone experience the same things.
Ah.
Especially the practicum teachers, they still lack of you call
Mm-mm.
it classroom management.
Because we are not
Yeah,
permanent teacher, maybe.
exactly.
Maybe because we are not at that time we are not permanent teacher, so they just cikgu baru, cikgu practical, biasa-biasa things like that. But how I maybe God was so kind to me in that day. That day was my happiest day, when this boy suddenly responds you in that class. I was like, wow, suddenly you are talking. I was like, thank God. Then it was like, how to say, your objective, even though it's different from your learning objective, your objective is to let this boy open his mouth to talk. That one is, for me, is the
Finally, I think
uh,
finally. Yes.
and then other.
Yes. Yeah, I think we are running out of time. If we
Okay.
can conclude and we ask to the moderator to proceed to the third one. But we can relate, yeah, Cherie. Not all students are active. You know,
Yeah.
I had this class with Akmal last semester. It was very challenging as well to make sure students' participations, because we cannot control what is behind the camera. So there are times that we feel like, I feel myself like talking to myself alone. Only 2, 3 students, the same students responding to me. But I think, yes, again, I love to quote this one: expectation kills, which means you just convey as teachers, but we cannot convince the students. Whether you like it or not, we cannot force them. We try our level best to convey. So with that, I think can we proceed to the third one? Akmal, what do you
Yes,
think?
yes, sure, Dr. Okay, so I would say thank you, Madam Cherie, for the sharing. I think let's just proceed and listen to what our third speaker, which is Mr. Hafiz, has to say next, right? So, kesian kat dalam tunggu kan?
It's
So,
okay.
Mr. Hafiz, same question. Do you mind sharing the challenges and ways you overcome them?
Okay, thank you for the moderator. So maybe Dr. Khadijah can share the slide for the last slide. For my last slideshow, actually, I just explain and list down the challenges that I have encountered during my practicum sessions. Hello? Is it Dr. Khadijah mute?
Think I accidentally closed your slide just now.
Oh, it's okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Kejap, ya.
Because
I was,
I have some problem when I share the screen and then I
mm-mm.
need your help, Doctor. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. Let me open that one. Maybe you can carry on if you have to start. Wait, take a bit longer pula. Hold on, ya. Sebab dia
Okay,
macam lama sikit. Okay. So, Hafiz, okay.
the last
Kita
slide.
punya, yes, kita punya
Slide number
connection
6.
pun macam tak best je kan today.
Itulah saya dekat Kuantan pun sekarang tengah hujan, so that the connection tu macam
Connection saya alhamdulillah okay. It's just that tiba-tiba it's a bit slow when it comes to PowerPoint ni Hafiz. Dia jadi suddenly pula today.
or
So,
else I
alright,
just
let me try. I think hopefully I boleh share. Okay, boleh nampak ke? Belum? Belum? Ada ke?
sekejap it's loading. Yes.
Ada
Just
ke? Yes. I berjaya.
thank you, Doctor.
No problem. My
Okay.
pleasure.
Let me start. So actually, this is my challenges during I encounter when I'm doing the practicum at SMK TTDI Jaya Shah Alam. So that's give me a big impact, especially when I'm facing into the student financial problem. So
Oh.
so when I facing this kind of group of students, so they have a group of students because most of uh, the students, so their parents is not from T20s T20 of group, they are from B40 groups, so that I always try to from this platform, from this school, they are give me some effect to understand them, so that according to the students' ability, we need to know their financial problem, because as we know, learning arts requires a lot of money. So when I ask students to do an artwork, to create an artwork, so I need to explain to the student that you have to buy this, you have to bring this, you have to bring the materials, so that from this kind of student, okay, I try to understand them. So I try to solve the problem. How to solve the problem? As an art teacher, try to be creative. Okay, maybe you can use the waste product. Okay, bahan-bahan terbuang. You can teach students how to create an artwork regarding to the waste product, and then create a nice artwork from the waste product, so that student will learn about how to create the artworks regarding to the recycle materials, so that from that problem I try to solve, and I'm doing the what we call the demonstrations, okay, how to create their artwork, and with with the waste product actually is a new dimensional tools and materials, okay, so we know our students background, so we alert with that situation, we try to avoid them and ask them to buy expensive things, expensive material. So we can be more creative how to create something what we call, as long your learning objective successful, and then you can proceed with the uh, cara berkarya, how to create an artwork. So second, certain my students, they are less interest. So when they are less interest, I try to implement all the subject classroom management in this practicum session, okay, because we know that learning art, we create their attention, okay, so from that classroom management, there is no mass in art, because of what? Because of art is free, okay. I always put in my mind that art is free, so that teaching style, my teaching style also give a big impact. So I try to implement the more interesting technique, okay, try to find what is the good technique okay, and how to develop the classroom arrangement, okay, with the current situation, and then try to manage their intention in classroom management, as long your content is you are success to deliver your content, so that protect them to the learning. So when we start the trust and respect for the students, of course students are free to learn and we are free to teach. So that's the principle that I use when I'm doing the practicum, so that telling them what to expect. Because in arts perspective, okay, showing them what to expect, how, try to show to them, try to review your own rules when you are create the artworks, and then how to control or how to use the right tools and materials in your class, so that remember from that you will know the consequences. So the classroom consequences, the simplest consequences are often the best. Okay, so that the student do not give cooperation. Certain student they not shows us the interest when they are learning. Okay, so try to get involved with the current situation. We alert most of students now, they interest with the TikTok, Instagram. So try to tell them how to create a good platform, how to use this platform in a good way. Okay, create an artwork, demonstrate how to create the artwork into TikTok. At the same time, they are learning how to use the technologies into a right way, a good way. So that next is limited space. Okay, certain time, most of the time at the school kita berebut nak to use the what we call the art studio. Okay, maybe you try to be creative, bring students to do outside activities. For example, all the students already complete your artwork, try to hanging the artwork into tree, into pokok, okay, into pokok, and then doing in a small group, doing the presentation at outdoor, because of learning process not only in the classroom. Okay, try to bring them. For example, you are teaching about logo and symbol. Okay, try to bring your student mingle around the school and they show them what kind of symbol, what kind of logo in school itself, so that students have something what we call something new, okay, something new style from the other teachers. Okay, mostly the subject of mathematics, pendidikan Islam, they are showing that you need to study based on table and chalk. Okay, but for arts you are able, you are free to learn the process. Okay, try to understand the student situation, as I said the first point. Okay, especially our current student condition, make sure that you know the student's condition. Maybe certain student at night they help their parents jual at pasar malam, for example, kan, so that try to understand them. So from that, doing the personal intervention, and then always doing the assessment. Assessment is really important because of active learning strategies is coming from the assessment. Okay, so from the assessment you will always think how to teaching a good technique. As an art teacher, you must be creative at all the time, and then grab student attention to create your artwork, to understand each topic you are teach, and then increase student engagement in daily lesson. So that I always remember that, always implement that, to make sure that I always think from day by day what needs to be done. Apa yang saya kena buat Apa yang aku kena buat as a new teacher? What's next? Okay, alert with the situation. And last but not least, be prepared for student behavior. Okay, don't predict, or what we call, don't do not predict everything is beautiful, as I said just now. Okay, because of you have to prepare for your students. They are doing the response into our intervention, so that when you are doing a well intervention, inshallah student we reflect a good from that. So that last but not least, try to alert with the technologies, jangan takut. certain of teachers, tak pandai ni lah, tak pandai ni lah. Okay, in practicum, this is the learning process. Okay, try to explore to make sure that you be outstanding teacher and even you in a novice teacher below 5 years. Okay, I think that's all from my
Lovely.
challenges during my practicum, Doctor. Thank you.
Exactly, lovely. Right. Yes, moderator.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hafiz and the other speakers. All I have to say is that what a fantastic exchange session we just had. There are numerous inputs on the importance, obstacles, and solutions that we may actually turn to and employ in the event of emergencies. I'm grateful that we have such extraordinary people sharing and expressing their ideas for us. Thank you a lot. But not to mention also we have Dr. Barcelona, the Dean of Teacher Education Program from Laudes College Philippines, is here as well with us today. So I would like to welcome Dr. Barcelona to share maybe some words of wisdoms or some encouragements to the teacher candidates. And the stage is yours.
Yeah, yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Probably if you can share very, very briefly what you had over there in the Philippines so we can learn from each other experiences. All right, please, my friend.
Thank you very much, my friend. I hope you can hear me well. With due
And
respect to the
before you start, Dr. Barcelona is actually the best practicum teacher during his time, like Mr.
during my
Aziz.
younger years.
Okay, all right, please proceed. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Khadija. Actually, the sharing that they had earlier reminded me of so many beautiful things when I was still a young teacher. In fact, I experienced some of those struggles, some of those challenges that they had. But more importantly, what I see that is a product of wisdom is that every young teacher had to hurdle challenges in order for them to become a better teacher. But at this juncture, allow me to share with you for the information and for the learning of many of my young friends here, what is the practicum program in the Philippines. My due respect to the different lecturers and our speakers for this afternoon. Let me just share with you very briefly these things. Okay. The legal basis of our practicum at this time, because right after the pandemic, we had to have new guidelines for our student practicum, is based on Commission on Higher Education and Department of Education Memorandum Order Number 1 Series of 2021, which was anchored in consonance with Republic Act Number 722 and all of these legal statutory laws. So these are the basis for our practicum this time. What is the reason why we had the change? Because the teacher education institutions need to respond positively to the many challenges and opportunities that are confronting our education sector in the Philippines, particularly brought about by the pandemic. Thus, delivering courses must be done in innovative and flexible ways. The Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, stated in the Flexible Learning Continuity of Learning in the tertiary level that each teacher education institution must strive sufficiently to prepare the next batch of teachers. It does. We need to shift from face-to-face practicum to ensure health, safety, and security of teachers, students, pre-service teachers, and other stakeholders. These are some of the delivery of experiential learning courses. Number one, our practicum of our students is practically on the second semester, one semester. However, their exposure to the schools is done for 2 semesters. The first one, we call it field study. There are 2 field studies this time. So we expose our students there to the basic education. For the first field study, they are just going to observe. The second field study is they are going to assist the teachers, but no teaching demonstration. Teaching demonstrations will be done in the following semester. Then for the field study, they need to comply for 120 hours. And then secondly, the teaching internship is 360 hours. That will be 1 semester for each field study, 1 semester also for the teaching internship. These are some of the teaching learning activities that are done by the teachers who are by the practicumers in the Philippines. Number one, they will be doing observation of classes and they must have pre-observation and post-observation conferences by their mentors. Earlier, someone mentioned that there was a mentor, right? Yes, also here in the Philippines, we also have able mentors, or we call them cooperating teachers, who will be assisting our practicumers. Number two, in terms of class routines, they are supposed to be exposed to orientation sessions, teaching assistantship, which includes preparations of lessons, from learning, from lesson plan to the materials. Of course, preparation of instructional materials is there. They have to assist and they have to create their own instructional materials. They have to do class activities or facilitate class activities. Next, they have to they have to look into assessment practices. That would mean that they have to create their own assessment materials, and they have to check outputs of the students. Then they have to do demonstration teaching. They have to conduct it daily and with also a final demonstration. In their demonstration, in one of their demonstration, I sit down and observe and I give grades to them. This is a little bit interesting because we have to make sure that even if they are already exposed, we have still to make sure that what we have sent to our partner institution is really of quality. And if in case there are things still that need improvement on, they can still do second demonstration. Then they have to also be exposed to the school forms. Earlier, Ma'am Cherie was talking about the different paperworks, and we need to expose our students as well to this. That's why they have to assist in accomplishing school forms. Then they have also to be exposed in networking and linkages, the parents teacher conferences, and they have to act as volunteer tutors, and they have to attend webinars. That's a requirement of this of their practicum. Then this is a little bit interesting because this has not been done in the past. All practicumers in the Philippines have to do classroom-based action research. They have to conduct and they have to present their output before they can graduate. And then they will have to make their e-portfolio, which includes the certificate completion of certificate, the professional readings that they do on a regular basis, the weekly journals, but we encourage them to do daily journals. One of the sharers earlier talked about daily journals. And then we also have narrative experiences based on the Philippine professional standards for teachers. And then before the deployment, before they are being deployed, there are orientation or intervention sessions, but not as extensive as what you are doing. Based on our sharing with Dr. Khadija, you had been doing a lot of very extensive pre-practicum sessions, but ours is just basically orientation and intervention sessions on positive discipline, online safety, child protection, anti-bullying, safe school environment. These are the only interventions that are required, but we added a little, which includes the code of ethics for professional teachers. And then we have to make sure that they were able to get a certificate of readiness for teaching internship, which they have to get from our health clinic and also our guidance and counseling office. Before, we used to send them to really the hospitals and get the medical certificate to ensure that they're physically healthy for the practicum. And also we have to let them go to a particular psychiatric clinic for them to be assessed in order for them to be for us to be sure that they are psychologically ready for it. But now, because of the restrictions of the COVID, the joint memorandum order is telling us only to get it from our own school clinic and guidance and counseling office. And then for the Lourdes College Teacher Education Program, for us, this is what we had been doing. We had been sent, because of the restrictions, we are sending all our practicumers we have sent all our practicumers not anymore to out campus or from the other schools, but we send it to our laboratory school, which is the Lourdes College Integrated Basic Education Department. No going out of the school, and definitely it's all full online. And these are some of the courses and to where they are assigned at. Uh, Bachelor of Elementary Early Childhood Education, we sent them to our preschool. The elementary education are sent to our grade school, and also our secondary education of different majors from English, Filipino, social studies, values education. We send them to our junior high school and our senior high school. All online, following the health protocols that are set forth by both the institution and our local government. And the required is 360, but in our practice, we always go beyond the 360. In fact, many of them are already done the 360, but they're still continuing their practical. And then the CBAR, or the classroom-based action research topics, are actually identified already during their field study. And then, yeah, it's a full online practicum. I was sharing earlier to Dr. Khadija, it's very difficult for us to do not an online practicum, since all the schools in the city, in our region particularly, have not gone yet to face-to-face classes. So why are we sending the students? Why are we letting the students come to school? Why are we letting the practicumers come to school when there are no students inside? All of them are having online, or if not, doing modular lessons. Then more than that, yeah, I already mentioned that. Yeah, we need to prepare our students pedagogically and technologically for all of this, although it is not really part of the curriculum, the inclusion of the technological readiness for the students. So we had to make sure that in our lessons we integrate technological skills for them to be able to deliver the lessons through online means. We know that even if we have taught this, there are still gaps in the technological application as well as the pedagogical readiness of our students to deliver their classes. And then we need to let them understand the curriculum guide, which plays forth all the competencies that the teachers are doing, are supposed to give to the students, which are now in the curriculum, in the pandemic, have been compressed to what we so-called as MELCs, or most essential learning competencies. So they are lesser now as compared to before, but we have to let our students understand this, because even if this is the new thing now because of the pandemic, we know that it will create learning gaps among our learners. And then they are ably guided by their mentors and their cooperating teachers. And yes, as I've said earlier, we are doing classroom observations to them. And there are challenges that earlier you were talking about challenges. So I had the audacity of asking my students in the group chat, what are those things that you have difficulty, or that you have encountered difficulty while you were doing the practicum? And these are some of their responses. Um, Number one is that there's a low participation of students in synchronous sessions. And I think it is understood that there's a low participation because of their internet connection. And in our context, the students are not are given the option to attend synchronously or asynchronously. So some of the students would prefer not to attend synchronous classes. So we have few students attending. Then we have massive late submission of learning requirements, of learning tasks, and we cannot force them, because we believe that if we will do so, then we are creating mental health issues among them. So we really are we are really exercising flexible learning. And some of them, or if not most, are unresponsive to emails, messengers, or messages in messengers, and also text messages. And we have to respect that. That was as what Dr. Khadija was saying earlier. We have to respect that. And but of course, we need to try our very best to be able to get in touch with them. Other than that, less interface, since cameras are not turned on in most classes. Yeah, I think that was one of the struggles earlier, because some of our participants are not turning on their camera, and we cannot force them. And then there are also a lot of environmental distractions during synchronous classes. The parents know that they're having synchronous classes, but they would want their children to do this, to do that. And some of them are actually nannying for their younger brothers and sisters, and that's also called an environmental distraction in the context of synchronous classes. And this is also an institutional concern, and this is a concern on my end, the real world practice of teaching in the public school system. How ready are they when they will be really going to the public school system? When in fact they are the public school system in our country, only a few percentage is attending synchronous classes, and most of them are doing modular learning. And another is the readiness of the students for post-pandemic teaching. How ready are they really for the post-pandemic teaching? This is a challenge for us. Yeah, this I think this I mentioned this, and also the limited face-to-face classes that we are doing. I understand, I fully understand that in your context you are doing already limited face-to-face, but for us, we are still on a struggle of doing this. So far in the tertiary education or in the college, in the university level, only the medical as well as the laboratory, as well as the engineering courses are allowed to do really face to face. Although we are allowed now, but we have to go for rigorous preparations. In fact, tomorrow we will be consulting some parents for our limited face to face in the upcoming days. That would be all. Thank you very much. And if in case you have some questions related to our practicum program in the Philippines, I'm very happy to answer them. Back to you, Dr. Khadija.
I think we have some similarities and differences that we can take and learn from each other's. And as I said, we may have the MOUs with other partners. I introduce Aziz to you. Aziz, maybe you will have the collaboration in the future, or maybe some other of our students, maybe they have interest in, just to experience what Philippines pre-practicum looks like and the practicum teachers experience as well. So this is, for me at least, meaningful session. So I had what you call it, wonderful speakers today, were former students from UITM. I have my very good friend from Philippines who give us insight and experiences. And with that, I think can we say that we finished the session already? What say you, Akmal, as a moderator?
Yeah, I think that was a very an interesting sharing and a very inspiring speech given by Dr. Barcelona just now. Yeah, so should we proceed to the last part, which just the taking photo session?
Taking photo, yes, photo session.
Yeah.
Thank you, my dear friend, Dr. Barcelona, for your insight and participation. Thank you to the speakers as well. So Aziz, we have Madam Cherie and also Sir Hafiz. Thank you. And to the students, can you please, if you feel comfortable and convenient, to open and share your camera. We have the very, very quick photo session. Yes, Akmal?
All right. So for this photo taking session, I really asked a help from my friend because I'm currently using my phone so I cannot screenshot the whole entire thing. So Hazim, if you are ready, Hazim, okay, good?
Hazim, okay. All right, Hazim, okay.
Okay, Hazim is okay. So I'll just count. All right. Okay, from now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's just have another one snap. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay. Thank you everyone, and thank you Hazim for the help. And I would say that there was such an inspiring speech sharing by Dr. Barcelona and as well our speakers in terms of their expertise. And I would like also to express my gratitude to Dr. Khadija for allowing me to moderate to these sessions. And congratulations to everyone who took part in this session, particularly the loudest college students. Love you 3000. Okay, so that is all we have to say about it. Good luck to those who will be doing their practicum later. And even though we are about to enter endemic phase, especially for the Malaysia, please take care of yourself. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and best wishes for a wonderful evening to everyone. And I'll give the stage back to Dr. Khadija.
Okay, I guess that's the end of our third session for today. Wish everyone all the best, stay safe, and Assalamualaikum. Take care and bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
UITM
Thank you,
students.
everybody.
Thank you, former students. And thank you, Loudest College community. Bye.
Thank you so much for letting us participate in your activity.
Always, anytime, and more in the future.
Yes, and I think I have to invite someone, right, Dr. Khadija?
Yes, please. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Hafiz. Thank you, Aziz. Thank you, Chair. Thank you,
Thank
Akmal.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Take care, Doc. Dr. Barcelona, take care.
Okay. Dr. Khadija, should I stay or just leave?
Yeah. Okay.
Akmal, what's your Facebook, Akmal?
I'm sorry, Dr. Barcelona. I already permanently deleted my
Oh,
Facebook.
why?
You
Why?
Your students
it's
will be
You
having
should
Facebook,
you
have
should
Facebook
have one.
accounts. You
You're
should have
such talented
one.
one. Yes.
Yeah. It's one way
uh,
for you to be able to be a good teacher would mean to say that you teach
Yes.
beyond the classroom,
People will
even in
actually go
social
and,
media.
mhm.
exactly,
Yeah,
networking.
maybe because I had bad experiences with Facebook, especially in terms of my
Oh,
community, those people who follow me back then when I had Facebook. So I decided to say, "Oh, maybe I do not need to have a Facebook because even my IG, Instagram, I already permanently deleted my account due to some reasons. So I only stay on Twitter just for news and
oh.
yeah, that's all basically.
You know,
I
I
was
always
asking Akmal the same thing.
you know,
Yeah,
I always love I always love reading through Facebook because I see what my students are doing outside of the classroom, and I get to
exactly.
learn from it even more than they learn from me when I'm teaching inside the classroom. And as what the Chinese proverb says, the true test of a teacher is when he or she learns from his students, and that for me is something that is good when I read through their messages for their post in their social media.
Mhm. And maybe
Dr.
I should have a
Barcelona.
Facebook and just
Yes,
make it
you
a
should.
professional
Ex-
Facebook account.
Why not?
exactly. Why not? So people will, we have more time to know you outside of the classroom and all that. Dr. Barcelona, he is one of the debaters. Remember the other day?
Yes, yes. That's why
Yeah,
I remembered
yes,
him. He is one
yes.
of the best students when you had your debate.
Exactly, exactly. So, Dr. Barcelona, thank you again. Have a good rest. Have a wonderful
Yes.
day. And
I still
yes,
have I still have a kumustahan session this
oh,
after this actually, Dr. Khadija.
all right. All the best to
You know
you,
me.
my friend.
Okay, thank
No
you. Thank
rest,
you, Dr. Khadijah. Thank you, Dr. Barcelona.
no rest for the
All right.
weekend.
All
All right,
right.
Obi.